In Salmon Run, it's vital to cooperate and coordinate with your team at all times. Knowing where to be, what to look for, and when will allow you to anticipate hazards and prevent them from overwhelming your team. So in this video, we will discuss team etiquette. Before you even begin a shift in Salmon Run, you should make yourself aware of which weapons are being supplied, and make sure you know how to use them. This means that you will not be stumbling over a weapon type that you never took the time to gain a basic understanding of. Furthermore, you will know which enemies to focus on taking out, and which enemies your teammates will be better off tackling. When you begin a round in Salmon Run, the first thing that you should check for is the tide. This is indicated by the waves that appear on the screen. Also remember that during high tide and medium tide, the egg basket is in its normal location, but during low tide, it's moved down onto the beach. Immediately after you determine which tide the round is taking place in, watch to see if the sky gets dark. If this happens, it means that a known occurrence is about to take place. I will not be going into detail on how to deal with each of these scenarios in this video, but it's useful to be aware of when they occur. Although you don't receive points for covering turf like you do in Turf War, having control over the map is very important, especially since you'll be carrying golden eggs back and forth across the stage. For this reason, make sure that you plan ahead and cover the areas that you and your teammates will be passing through. Once you have decided where you and your teammates need to establish your turf, keep a sharp eye out for boss salmonid. You will hear a dissonant sound for each boss that emerges. If you spot a boss salmonid, get to it as soon as you can, and don't forget to call "this way" to your team. Conversely, if your teammate calls for you, be quick to accompany them in eliminating the boss. A tip for locating boss salmonid sooner is to look for the lesser salmonid that emerged from the water. The boss salmonids will always follow them, except during a fog event. As soon as you spot the first enemies peeking out of the water, you can rush towards them and confidently call for your teammates to follow you. You should never stay in one place for any longer than you have to. Keep yourself busy finding the next boss, defeating salmonid, and delivering golden eggs. Always being on the move not only ensures that you'll find the next boss salmonid sooner, but also allows you to maintain map control, making things easier overall. When you obtain a golden egg, don't hold on to it. As soon as you have the opportunity, put it in the egg basket. It may not be immediately obvious, but holding on to golden eggs for too long will cripple the flow of your team and make it much harder to collect enough golden eggs before time runs out. Speaking of golden eggs, you should frequently check your HUD to see how many of them your team has left to collect before reaching the quota. This will allow you to decide whether to risk everything to grab the last golden egg, or if you've already met the quota, to play it safe and survive. Checking your HUD to see how your teammates are faring will help you to avoid unnecessary risks. You'll be able to relax if you know that your team is about to deliver the last golden egg, or flee in terror when you realize that you are the only one still alive. Keep alert so that you can anticipate when you are about to become overwhelmed with enemies. Doing so will help you to avoid becoming surrounded and squashed by salmonid which would have otherwise been easy to take out. No matter how quick and careful you are, you will eventually get splatted. As soon as this happens, call out to your teammates for help. You should also grab any golden eggs that are next to you, and more importantly, move towards your teammates so that they can revive you. The better you get at staying alive, the more you'll see your colleagues get splatted. Most of the time, reviving them is the first thing that you should do. Sometimes, however, the swarm of salmonid that splattered them will get in the way. If you've already met your quota, and you can see that it would be risky to revive your teammates, then it's best to retreat first. When you see trouble coming, it's time to use your special. Don't be hesitant to use it in the first and second wave, because it's much more important to reach wave 3 than it is to win. As long as you beat the first 2 waves, your pay grade will not drop, even if you lose in the end. The most difficult boss to defeat is the flyfish. Each one that is still alive will target 2 of you and rain its nasty missiles all the way across the map. Of all the bosses, you should prioritize defeating flyfish first. In second place comes the Drizzler, who shoots a bumbling missile, which in turn summons a rain of terror that is sure to immobilize and shred any of you that happen to be in the vicinity. Before you even consider defeating your Drizzler, shoot its missile out of the air. If you have time, you can also line yourself up before shooting, so that his missile will deflect right back into him. But if you're not going to make it in time, then just hurry and dispose of the thing before it rains on your team's parade. Yet another crippling catastrophe is too many stingers. Especially if you have a blaster, you should be quick to take out their hot stacks of deadly lasers. Scrappers and moths are much easier to defeat once you've lured them to your egg basket, so do it. This also makes collecting their golden eggs very quick. Whatever you do, don't start shooting a scrapper while it's in a narrow passage or choke point that your teammates have to pass through. Doing so will almost certainly result in one of you getting stuck and the scrapper shielding the impending wave of salmonid as they proceed to squash you. Regardless of what the current level of peril is, it remains essential to know your limits. When entering any engagement with the enemy, just remember the acronym FART. Plan ahead, hard focus, allow self-damage, refill your ink, and take a golden egg. When you see a boss salmonid approaching, often you will only be given a brief window of time to defeat it. So plan ahead. If you aren't careful, the lesser salmonid will assault you from behind and interrupt your attack. Before you rush to the boss salmonid, take a moment to clear away any chum, small fry, or cohorts that are nearby, and allow yourself to have enough time to defeat the boss once it arrives. Once you have begun your attack, forget about the entire rest of the universe. Everything else can wait. The only thing that matters is making those few shots count. Let nothing stand in your way. Boldly step forward, fixate your reticle of rage on the boss salmonid's weak point, and unleash your fury. Sometimes things don't go quite as planned, and a salmonid or two will slip past your defenses. But let me ask you, which is more important? Charging up your splat charger just in time to take out the steel eel before it sandwiches you and your friends? Or getting rid of that spoon-wielding midget fry that's coming to slap your butt? In the heat of battle, you'll be forced to make split-second decisions like this all the time. In each scenario that you encounter, try to understand what the greatest threat to you and your team actually is. Once the fires died down, make sure you take enough time to cool off in your ink. The last thing you want is to run dry when you're trying to make an escape. Besides, it's good to be ready to throw a splat bomb in case a flyfish or moths show up. If there are any golden eggs to collect, grab one and take it to the basket. Most of the time, that's all it takes to keep up on your quota. Plus, swimming across the stage puts you at a better position to find more. Experimenting and learning different weapons really pays off in Salmon Run. The more weapons you are comfortable with, the better you will perform. Each weapon affords different abilities such as splatting bosses with one shot, high mobility, bulldozing swarms of cohorts, shielding you and your teammates from explosions, or even eliminating flyfish. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you found this video helpful, and share it with any of your friends who could benefit as well. I hope to make more Salmon Run guides about specific weapons, scenarios, and enemies. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and see you later!